Whatever you do during your application process, make sure you prove ties to your home country. Omo, you get why. If you ever feel Wagwan guys, hello guys, hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Pelumi, and if this is your first time here, please do not make it be your last. Check my other videos, like, share, subscribe, click on the notification button. I know what it feels like to want unneeded information or exact information that you need and you don't have access to it. Well, I will be giving you the information that you need, especially if you have plans to travel to Canada, or you have people or friends or family members who have plans to travel to Canada. You need every information that I'll be giving out. So please click on the subscribe button. And if you're a returning subscriber, you're not real MVP. Thank you so much for coming back. And I must say this, my last post, you guys left me flabbergasted. Thank you very much for the love. Thank you for the likes, the view, the shares, the comments, the engagement. It took. Thank you very much. Without wasting time, let's just go straight into the video. A disclaimer before we go into the video. Please note, I am not an immigration officer, an immigration consultant, an agent. I am not licensed to give immigration advices. Whatever we are doing here, with a gist though, I am gisting you. But then I'm sharing my real life experiences, what I did right, what worked for me, and work for you too, and as well do your research. Let's just go straight into the video. And just as the thumbnail implies, my Canadian study visa application took 6 months. Yes, you heard that correctly. Sorry, to be much more specific, it took 26 weeks, and that is 6 months and 2 weeks. I want cruise, but then why? If you ask me, I don't know. But then I made my research and I got to find out that it was due to the COVID backlog, because I applied 2021 and that was literally at the time when we were coming out of COVID. So it was due to COVID backlog. But even at that, I know some persons that applied after I did and they got their approval. I wasn't sure as to why, but one thing was sure, I was not expecting a denial. And why? That was because I did the right thing and I was sure on what and about what I did. Typically, when your application process is going beyond 4 months, 5 months, just expect a denial. It only takes the grace of God and a low probability or possibility to be approved. I am not saying there are no chances. Of course, I am a living testimony. It took over 6 months and it was approved. Why? I did the right thing. And what are the right things to do? That's everything I'm going to tell you in the video today. The last point is the most important of all. Please stay to the end of the video not to miss this information. And the first thing is, make sure that your SOP is very detailed. I did that. I might be looking away from my camera once in a while. I'm just trying to check my notes. I just had a little guide so that I do not miss anything. I don't want to miss anything on the information. Make sure that your SOP is very detailed. Make sure you're explaining everything in your SOP. Do not leave anything out. It's not like the UK or the USA application that you have an opportunity for an interview. You do not have an opportunity for an interview. You're just going to put everything into writing. You don't know who is reading it. As much as possible, do not use ambiguous terms. Make sure you're using terms that are simple to understand. Do not use any terms that could be maybe or not. No, you don't raise suspicion with this kind of an application. Just a word can raise an eyebrow and they could decide to deny your application. Make sure you explain everything very well and it is very detailed. I was talking to someone recently. I said, make sure your SOP is explicitly explicit. Now, one of the things that I did and did correctly was explaining my transitioning of program. Now, I am a graduate of Obafemi Awolowo University, greatest Ife. I am a graduate of Obafemi Awolowo University, and I studied English. Now, studying English, and I wanted to take business management, or I am taking business management, but I will just use this in past tense as a then. And I wanted to take business management. There's no correlation. Now, I need to explain my transitioning. In my situation, I had work experience in business, and I had my brother's business, my sister's business that I was handling. I said in my SOP that I was coming back to handle my brother's business with proof. That's why I said about your SOP being very detailed. So I explained my transition, and I explained why I wanted to take business management, and I made sure that the explanation was reasonable and very easy to believe. You don't give explanation that would raise an eyebrow on it. It would be like, what is she saying? What is this saying? Make sure you're explaining well, and make sure you have a good and strong study plan. I just said that earlier. When you're having a transition, you have study gap. Explain your study gap. If you graduated 2006 and you want to study 2023, that's how many years. You need to explain why you have that gap. If you have work gap also, because you're also going to submit your resume, if there's a work gap, you need to explain it. Your SOP must be very detailed. That's like the most important thing. And you also have to prove home ties. Prove home ties. Whatever you do, make sure you prove home ties. You get why. It's just like having to tell them that after my study, because you have a temporary visa, it's a study visa, you're telling them that after my study, I will be leaving your country. And there are several ways to do it. You can use your business by submitting your CAC, the registration of your business, your bank accounts, all of those things. You can also use property. You submit the documents. If it is a landed property, your COO. If it is a purchase, your receipts and all of that. You can also prove ties using your spouse and your kids. Submit pictures, birth certificates, marriage certificates, investment. Submit all of those documentations. Put it in your SOP. Tell them that you have these things and these are your home ties. These things will take you back to your house. In my situation, I proved home ties with my family. I proved home ties using property. I proved home ties also with business. So it was easy for me. I was rest assured that no, I was going to get my approval because I did everything correctly. The next one that you want to do, and this one is very sensitive and so broad, and I'll make another video entirely on that. You have to provide sufficient proof of funds. You cannot escape this. If your proof of funds, for instance, this is an instance, if your proof of funds is supposed to be 10,000 CAD, which can never be. But if your proof of funds is supposed to be 10,000 CAD, please, if possible, make it about 15,000 CAD. Whenever you're doing Canadian application, do not give the bare minimum. If the minimum is 1, please do 3, do 4. With this kind of application, they're always looking for every means possible, every way possible to deny the application. So do not give the barest minimum. Make sure you do more. So you have to prove sufficient funds. In this situation, you have to decide if you will be sponsoring yourself. That's going to be self-sponsored, or you're going to have a sponsor, or you have a co-sponsor, or you want to have 2 sponsors. Yes, it is possible to have 2 sponsors. Like I said, I'm going to make a full video on proof of funds, what I did and everything, and how you can prove your funds, and what you're supposed to do and what not to do while proving your funds. And you also need to, if whatever way you're using, whatever way you decide to use, whether it's self-sponsored or co-sponsored, or you have a full sponsor, you have to prove source of income. The main thing is proving it, and it has to be sufficient. I would advise, if you do not have sufficient proof of funds, do not initiate your application process. Do not initiate your application process. So I need to tell you, please register your business. If you want to sponsor yourself, or you have someone that wants to sponsor you, and you're watching this video right now and your business is not registered, please register your business. Get your CAC. It just proves the credibility, and it will just avoid denial. So those are one of the reasons, or some reasons that application could be denied, possibly could denied. A little error, a tiny bit of error can lead to the denial of your application process. So make sure you register your business. You also need the back statement. For the back statement, you don't need to do about 40, 50 pages and all of that. Just go to the bank, request for a back statement. It is just a slip. They will give you just a slip. The slip would be directed to IRCC, and it might just be maybe 5 or 10 lines introducing the owner of the account. There will be a password and a code on that slip. So that is what you would upload on the portal, and IRCC will access using that code, access the account using that code. Now they say 4 to 6 months. I would advise, do not use 4 months bank statement account, use 6 months. Like I earlier stated, do not give the barest minimum. Before we continue, if this video has been very informative, if you've been able to get anything from this video, please click on the subscribe button. Please also like, and you can drop your questions in the comment section. I'll definitely answer all of the questions. Avoid lump sums, or more, avoid lump sums. But if it is unavoidable, make sure you justify it. It goes back to explaining in your SOP. Your SOP has to be very detailed. If there's a lump sum, you need to explain why you have that lump sum. Mom sends money to you to support you. You need to state that in your SOP, that because your mom is sponsoring your education, and it has to be a letter attaching another letter entirely to it. Your mom is supporting you with this. Your mom will be the one to write that letter. I had a whole lot of letters that I attached to my application. Now your mom is going to write this letter stating that I want to support my son or all of these, or my daughter, and I'm supporting her with this particular amount. That is why there's a lump sum. You would explain all of those in your SOP. Avoid it as much as possible, but if you cannot avoid it, justify it, explain it. Without justification, that's a huge red flag, not even a small error. Prove family ties. Prove family ties. I know someone who recently messaged me and she was like, her application got denied, and when she ordered a GMSC note, it was because she couldn't prove family ties with a sponsor. Let me let this out. It is not advisable for your friend to be a sponsor. It is advisable to have someone who is your family to be your sponsor. In most cases, most preferable that you have the same surname. If you don't have the same surname, of course, you can go through the process of proving that ties. If the person is maternal or paternal, your uncle, paternal uncle or maternal uncle or aunt, you have to prove it. Show birth certificates, show pictures if you can. If it was back then in the days, or you at some point written letters to yourself or whatever, you can also prove that. You can also probably use WhatsApp chats that you've also had a couple of times. A lot of things. I keep saying this. Your SOP has to be very detailed. Your application process has to be very detailed. You have to prove ties. In my situation, I wanted to use my sister as my sponsor, but because I did not want any red flag, any error. I didn't want any excuse for a denial. I had just, in a better situation, used to my brother, because my sister was married and there was already a change of surname. In that situation, yes, I could use birth certificates, I could use pictures, I could use a marriage certificate. If any of those certificates are not available, you can also use affidavit, but you have to also explain this in your SOP. But my own situation, okay, I had another option, a better option. I could use my brother. Let's just go to the stream, to the point. We have the same surname. I'm not married yet, so we have the same surname. It was easier. SOP has to be very detailed. I have said this a million times, and I'll still keep saying it. It has to be very detailed. That is your only opportunity at the shot. So your SOP tells if your application is going to be approved or denied. It is your application process is the decision maker, not even IRCC. Your application process is decision maker. IRCC would see some application and they'll be like, oh no, we cannot deny this application because everything was explained in detail. For instance, if you're using your business as proof of funds, explain the revenue generated, explain how you generate revenue, explain the monthly revenue, explain the annual income, explain your net profits, explain everything, explain how you're going to use it to fund your school fees and all of that. So you are trying to prove to them that you already have your full school fees, you have your living expenses, you have everything for your flight and everything included. That is a lot of money. So there has to be a source of income. If you're using a sponsor, you have to use your sponsor's source of income. What is the source of income? Whether it is a business. So there has to be a source of income. So that's why most situations, or let me say, most application process get denied because of insufficient proof of funds. Do not rush your application process, please. Do not rush your application process. Take time to apply for your Canadian study visa. Because why would you wait for as much as 3-4 months, 5 months to get a denial, and you have to start the process all over again? It's a lot of money, a whole lot of money to get to apply for your visa, and you have to get a denial. Whatever is worth doing is worth doing well. So if you're going to initiate your application process, do not rush it. Take your time. And sometimes there are some denials that could lead to a ban. That's like some 5-year ban. So just do your research. The first thing I would advise to do is to do your research. Know the school that you want to go to. On another video, I would make another video on school. It is not all schools you apply to. The school you're applying to, it should be a school that gives PGWP, postgraduate work permits. If it doesn't give a postgraduate work permit, now you have to come back, because after school. So why spend about 30,000 CAD to study and you don't have a work permit? Also, make sure you make inquiries on the course, on the program. It has to correlate with what you probably have studied, or you explain the transitioning. And you also have to check on the city. You have to make research on the city where the school is. Some cities do not have enough jobs. There are some cities that you might feel, because the cost of living is low, you want to go there, but they don't have enough jobs. How do you fend for yourself? How do you pay your rent if you don't get enough job? I know someone that leaves the city where she's staying to travel about 3 hours just for job. That's not convenient and is not sustainable. Please make your research. Pick the appropriate school, pick the appropriate course, pick the appropriate city. Make sure you make inquiries on the job before you apply for an admission. Make sure that your documentations, everything that you're submitting, is correct. Cross-check the names, especially those that are probably that change their names due to marriage and all of that. Cross-check the names. Every details that you're submitting, every documentation that you're submitting, please make sure it tallies. Make sure that everything is accurate. Avoid errors as much as possible. Do not give room for errors. These people are looking for ways. A lot of people are applying for Canadian visa, and people are looking for ways to deny application. Do not give them any reason. I did not give them any reason. I don't know why my application took 6 months. So it was beyond COVID.
The devil is a liar. This is the last part and the most important, and I don't know how it got deleted. You cannot take out the place of prayer. You need to pray. No matter how perfect you must have done your application, you need to pray about it and just pray to be favored, because anything can happen to just one file amidst millions of applications.
And I prayed. I prayed. I did fasting and prayer. I did revival. In short, the very day that I got my approval, it was the first day of the month, and I woke up that midnight to pray. Immediately I finished praying, I just picked my phone because I couldn't sleep. I was just trying to go through, and I saw it was my sister that told me. My sister was checking for me because I was already, Yoruba used to say, my mama or call Share or something. I was thinking too much about it. I wasn't expecting a denial. The moment where you already apply for your visa, your mind, your soul, your spirit already left Nigeria. It's only your body that is here. So 6 months is a lot of time. So I was, please just check. I was already nervous. She just told me your visa has been approved. Oh my God, that one is another story for another day. So I'll just stop this video here. Please like, share, subscribe. If everything that I've given you, all of the details that I've given you has been helpful or will be helpful, please share this video, like, subscribe, turn on the post notification. I'll see you some other time. Thank you.
If you ever feel alone, 'cause yeah, sometimes we'll feel alone.